Hey there team, so this is a pretty exciting little free-for-all that we managed to get done maybe 2 weeks ago, I think. Right about that, I'm paired up here with Jar Jar Binks, who's playing as a Mordor army, so I decided to go Orcish myself and grab Isengard. I've got a pretty balanced force, which we'll just run through now. I've got some Warg Riders, 2 units of Warg Riders, some Nazhai. Oh yes, no, I'm a very strange force actually, certainly not balanced at all. I remember my army now. I've got the Nazhai, put my general in there. Trolls of the White Hand, some Uruk-hai Berserkers, Uruk-hai Archers, 3 of them, and then the Lurch Hunting Pack, 2 I decided to go for. But when it comes to my main army, things get a bit crazy. I've got my 2 units of Uruk-hai Reavers, and then I've got my Uruk-hai Raider battle line, which I just don't really see Uruk-hai Raiders getting brought too much. People would prefer to just spend a little bit of extra money to grab the much more effective Uruk-hai infantry. So I wanted to, use them and use them en masse, and I also wanted to play Isengard as a very horde, rather than the more sort of disciplined force that you see a lot of the time. And then I've got my Snaga skirmisher line, and then, as I say, my Uruk-hai archers up front, with my wargs in the back. Initially, Jar Jar and I were planning, as you always should do on a free-for-all, you need to be quite aware of where you're going to go and how you're going to be behaving. So, shoot, half of Jar Jar's army has just disappeared, as we saw. Those are javelins. We're going to catch what we can, though. Sauron's Will here. Some Anduin Lancers, some Melkor's Chosen, 2 Moranon Infantry, and some Moranon Archers. And then we've got the Olokai, but we're seeing some Moranon Archers here, too. Some Blackguard of Barad-dûr, Minas Morgul Chosen, Orc Javes, and there's probably another unit of Orc Javelins in here too, maybe some Orc Fodder, and then another unit of Blackguard of Barad-dûr. So our initial aim here was actually to go for this green blob, which some people may know that this colour signifies Rohan. And part of my reason for that was, hey, I'm Isengard, I want to go toe-to-toe with Rohan here. And also, I wanted to really sort of challenge myself with this army. I don't really have spears, and I certainly don't have pikes. And I wanted to see how I can generally deal with Cav. Now, I did believe, though, I've got my 2 beefy-ass units of Warg Riders, and surely that'll be enough. Including, the Wargs, the Melkor's Chosen from Jar Jar Binks, and, worst case scenario, throw my Trolls in. So, I really thought I would be able to deal with whatever cavalry Rohan's going to throw at me. And I think we'll generally just be speeding up probably until I can sort of rattle off everybody else's army. We've got Mordor here. Jar Jar's actually put down some stakes, so he warned me about that. He made sure I was aware because I had my wargs and I might have just run right across. So it was good that he pointed that out to me. But it's nice. This is a pretty narrow area, and if we're around here focusing on Rohan, and Khand, who is one of these armies over here, decides to take a runner at us, he might not see them. Usually if you don't see any units around stakes, you might just not spot them. So we'll go for our initial enemies first. Vince here is one of the Rohan forces, pretty small, but a few of these units hiding in the forest. His Eastmark Spears there, Eastmark Horse Archers, some Sons of the Ale Horse Archers there, some Ered of Aldberg, and some more Eastmark Riders. So quite a substantial force of Cav, and there's a lot hiding. This is on the Vale of Anduin map, which is really quite pleasant actually to see. Then we've got Lil S. He's got some more infantry here, the Eastmark Spearman line, but then a lot of Eastmark Riders. Now I've got my Wargs, and my Wargs can definitely chew through a hell of a lot of Eastmark Riders, but this is a lot of Eastmark Riders. And then behind them, we've got the Riddermark Cav, and they're actually quite good. I used to think that the Riddermark Cav was actually really quite low tier, but they're low tier for Rohan Cav. But, they're actually pretty impressive on the charge. And then the Ered of Aldberg line behind them as well. And then, of course, finally, the first Marshal's Bodyguard there. So, when I saw this amount of Cav, I was a bit scared. I thought maybe my 2 units of Wargs are not going to be enough. And, of course, Vince is going to have more hidden in these trees. So, we'll keep it on 0.1, because I do want to go right to that when the get-go starts. I'm probably not, I'm going to be missing a fair bit of the other fight. I will try and catch as much as I can, but I'm not going to be able to get all of it. We've got Cerberus here, playing as Khand. He's got his Variag Bowmen, some Variag Warriors, lots of Variag men here. Any armor upgrades for these warriors? Because as I say, no, that's alright. I just love the massive sort of very, very Chinese shoulder pads that the Variag warriors get when you give them the armor upgrade. Over here we've got the Nurad halberd line. We spotted the general there too. He's part of the Nurad Windblades today. And then some nomadic infantry and nomadic raiders mixed in. It's quite a few archers from him. And then the Brotherhood of the Wain here with their nice sort of rapid fire crossbows there. I did actually know what the name of that crossbow was, but I can't quite remember it now. The Nurnian Shoreland Patrol. I never see those guys get brought actually. I don't know why, but yeah, I think people just always get like the cheaper alternatives. There might be some stuff hidden in those trees, but we'll keep on going around to his ally Dorwinian, played by Kanzo. Kanzo's got a nice beefy line up front with Elvellan infantry mixed in with the Merquindi pikes. That's not something you really want to try and be breaking through. And that's a very nice long line there. Backed up by some Glade Masters, some Hammer Guard, some Elvellan Marksmen, and then some Glade Riders to his side. Very expensive force from Dorwinian, and this is a pretty narrow battlefield, but he's going to need to make sure it stays very narrow if he's going to have success with that very elite force. Monkeytron here is bringing Dale. He's got 2 Earls of Dale. They'll be able to go toe-to-toe with those Glade Riders. At least hold them in place long enough. And Dalian bows are going to be able to tear through the Glade Riders. We've got the Bardian Herd, 3 of them. Then over here, some Dalian spears and some dismounted Earls of Dale, 3 of them. Lots of 3s here today from them. Then some Blackshot Dragon Slayers. No general in with the Blackshots. Some Dalian Bowmen. And the Dalian Paladins. That's where the general is today, which is nice to put him there because his sword now gains armor piercing when he's swinging away at enemies. And they're tied up with another exceptional archer faction. It's probably the best archer faction in the game here, played by Nawaki. We've got Lothlorien, his mounted company, some Lorinand Swordmasters, some Eldar Council, Lorinand Warriors. Riders of the Golden Wood spread very wide across this battlefield. That's kind of cool to see. Sort of very deep formation. Well, deep and wide, actually. Watchers of the Golden Wood, March Wardens of the Wood, Kindred of Celeborn, probably a few units hiding in these trees. We're seeing the stakes, so that we know there's something in there. And then some Lorinand Archers. 3 Lorinand Archers there, and some Swears of the Wood. So, yep, good, beefy archer. Actually, sorry, no, that's 2. That's 2, just, I thought that this bulge signified another unit. So, no, that is that. So we will get to it. There's a crossing, just so everybody's aware, there's a crossing here. There is also a crossing right here for the river. I think that's the only crossings, apart from, of course, here, in order to get to this island, from which you can then cross there. So, yeah, 3 crossings, and but the initial engagement is clearly me and Mordor up against our Rohirrim adversaries. Let's look over at these forests just to try and watch the initial arrival of the Cav. But there's probably not going to be a movement from Vince until his ally advances. I start moving immediately because, as I say, this was our plan. We were in good communication. Jar Jar and I really were sort of pretty on point with that throughout. And right from the get-go, I start sprinting on over. Here's the Cav. Eastmark Riders all over the place, coming sprinting on forward now. And I've got my wargs, which the issue is, well, there's 2 main issues. I could have deployed my wargs far closer, and also forgot to move the Naz High. So the wargs are just protecting the Naz High from any sudden movement from Khand. But as soon as I feel the Naz High are sort of safe, I'll start moving them a bit faster. Of course, watching out for those stakes. But for now, Jar Jar is sort of left on his own to withstand this initial cavalry charge, which will get down nice and low as these Eastmark Riders come in for the attack. So this is really what you want to be striking here. Yeah, lots of them are dropping there. That was about 40. Yeah, over 40 men have been dropped from that one single charge from those really cheap unit of Cav, the Eastmark Riders. So, and they've gotten out. They're wavering there, but they'll still get out safe. That was some good micro on the part of Vince. It's always really tough to come in with a multi-unit cavalry charge. The Adunheim Lancers are coming forward, but the Adunheim Lancers, they can get a good charge off, but they're not really melee Cav after that. So they're just holding back the Riddermark Cav. And they definitely dealt some good kills to them, but they need to get out now. The Melkor's Chosen is really what we need here. And as I say, I'm just maybe a bit too slow off the mark. I've crossed over those stakes and I'm starting to run now. But my wargs would definitely be pretty beneficial on these front lines. But Mordor's got the numbers. As we see, a lot of men have popped up here. I've already run my infantry all the way up here to try and just get some skirmisher fire into these guys, get some archers up. As I've said before, you know, my archers are really my fodder units a lot of the time, especially these poor quality archers, like the Uruk-hai archers. I'm happy enough for them to receive a charge. I'd prefer that rather than my blob of infantry. But as we manage to catch some of these cavalry units, we're defeating them. And yeah, I'm just sort of exposing my wargs forward now. And he doesn't really have any skirmishers. There's not really any Riddermark skirmishers. The only units that can really go toe-to-toe with my wargs are knights. But even though we're inflicting some good kills on these guys, every charge that they get off on my wargs is just, you know, some extra damage. And he's also using his horse archer as well. That's a real issue with wargs. Wargs just don't really cope well under arrow fire. They're nice beefy boys, but you know, once they're just poorly armored and no shields. So we're gonna slow it down because, as I say, these charges are just very interesting and how we try and deal with them. But the conflict over on this edge of the battlefield, well, this side of the battlefield, is already sort of beginning, as Dale is wasting no time coming forward against Dorwinion. Dorwinion seems to have fallen back, which I think is the right idea. Khand and Dorwinion were maybe too far apart right at the start. I think they were of kind of two minds. Khand kind of wanted to maybe strike me, and Dorwinion wanted to hold the line against Dale. And since they were kind of split so far, now Dale is just able to really overwhelm them, and Dale and Lothlorien's archers. And we're seeing the Glade Riders, their main issue is just how quickly they can fall to arrow fire. So yeah, they're just going to be dropping. But it seems to me right now that they are just being used to hold back the tide and give the infantry line enough time to form up properly. These Merquendi pikes, you need to keep them safe. Again, a lot of the Merquendi units really are lacking on armor. Really just exceptional elven skill is keeping them safe. So arrows don't care about your melee skill, I'm afraid. So let's zoom back on over and we'll speed back up to 1 speed. As we have another charge here. We've caught some more of the cav. As I say, we were feeling okay about this at this point, you know. Every unit that we were sort of deleting was like, great, that's one less cavalry unit we have to worry about. But I get pretty deep here with my wargs, just trying to chase some people down and just expose them to massive amounts of arrow fire. Probably a bit of friendly fire too. So you're seeing them dropping 36 there now and 56. And as much as many cavaliers as we've killed from Rohan, they've just got so many more to give. This is really where Rohan shines as a cavalry faction, and when you compare them to to armies like Arthedain or Dol Amroth, who in my mind have superior cav to Rohan, but they just don't have it in the same numbers as Rohan does. Rohan can suffer these sorts of losses, whereas if you goof up with your if you goof up bad with your Arthedain cav, game's over, sorry. Whereas, you know, Vince here and Little S, you know, not that they've been making mistakes, they've been doing really quite well with these cavalry forces, but even if they did make a mistake, they doesn't matter. They can come out of this again with another fresh unit. So that's a good charge. As I say, I managed to catch it, but he slammed himself right into my Warg Riders and dealt a lot of damage to them. So once these Warg Riders are dead, I don't have spears. You know, I don't have anything to catch these cavalry charges. So let's zoom back on over. Oops, sorry. Oh, whoops, I'm holding, I think I was holding the caps lock button instead of shift when I was trying to slow it down. So Dale is just coming straight forward, as is right here. Backed up by Lothlorien's units. He, when you are outnumbering an enemy 2 to 1 like this, it is definitely a good idea to just come rushing on forward and just overpower them. These pikes, Kanzo needs to be getting them in the fight, and these guys are actually turned around the wrong way. Glade Masters, everything needs to be thrown in just to sort of counteract this right now, because this is Monkey Tron's basically entire infantry melee force coming forward now. So it's Sildren River Patrol have popped up. That's a good unit to sort of slam down into the Bardian herd, but they will be dissolved by arrow fire if they stay out there too long. Merquendi Pikes coming forward now. Elvelyn Marksmen. Ah, good. Yeah, they definitely want to use up their ammo. But they're not bad in a fight after that. Heavily armoured guys at the end of the day. Very wealthy nation, Dol Amroth. Everybody likes bevs, so that's fair. But these black shots do not really care about armor. I'm just trying to have a look at see who I'd be shooting at right now. If I could get a shot clean into the Glade Masters, that'd be incredible. But looks like right now that, oh no, that's the Kindred of Kellamore just dissolving this unit of River Patrol. That's pretty sound, because they can just do so much damage, as they clearly have done, to these Bardying Herd. Cand is coming forward now. He did rush over as quickly as he could, but he's kind of facing a bit of an issue here. Because his ally has kind of fallen back into this tighter area, his cavalry is not really going to be as useful, so he needs to get his ass around. But getting around, he's going to expose himself to so much arrow fire. It's really sort of a lose-lose situation. He needs to be careful with it. The Glade Guard popped up, but again, Glade Guard, they're just poorly armored, exceptional in a fight. But this is the really sort of the thing about Dorwinion. The Elvelyn guys can take a punch in ranged, and the Morquindi and the Nandor can definitely take a punch in melee. So you need to try and just mix that up. This is a good charge. Nawaki coming forward with his cav. That could maybe be answered, but no, I think it's all sort of horse archers here. Brother to the Wayne, yeah, they could definitely, they could definitely tear through some people. But yeah, we'll get back on over to the Rohirrim's charges. And you can see this has just been constant. They have given us no rest. We have not been able to form up a proper front line even, because every time we try, they come in with another charge. And this is just incredible, like, micro abilities from these guys, that they're just able to sort of handle these amounts of units and use them quite effectively, get them in and out up against our Moranon warriors here, and Moranon infantry, sorry. So I'm just trying to answer to that with some Snagga fire coming into these guys, just trying to whittle through their cav. We're using our trolls here. Now this is something I think I was doing quite well with. I was being able to sort of avoid charges to my trolls. Now I say that they're taking a little bit of a charge there, but my trolls were only ever coming out after the charge hit. That's something that trolls can be used to counter cavalry quite effectively. Announcer's not happy with, but Announcer's never going to be happy when you're doing a free for all. Not until the very late stages anyway. So, because once you've kind of got them, yeah, you're going to mince them. But you just can't leave them hanging out there for very long, or the enemy is going to be able to charge them nicely with cav. Let's go back up to normal speed to kind of just see how quickly all of this is actually playing out. Because when you're watching it very slowly, you think, oh yeah, of course you can easily do that at this speed. But no, when it's coming at you the speed that it was happening in game, it all becomes a bit more clear. So these Moranon infantry have taken a bit of a beating, so I'm having to sort of send forward some of my Uruk-hai raiders to take these charges. Getting Lurt's hunting pack moved over to the side here, hoping to get some side shots on these lighter armoured Rohirrim cavalry in comparison to some of the other kingdoms of men. Some good fire onto these Eastmark spears with an armour upgrade, actually. Those Eastmark spears have received. Gives them that slightly reddish look that we commonly see in the... We've seen a lot of that in the Silmarillion Total War that's being developed. A lot of the human units in that wear this sort of armour, I've noticed. They're very sort of Rohirrim in their appearance, which is kind of cool. Because that is sort of the technology that man was at that stage. There was no plate for humans or anything. Well, arguably there's no plate ever in Tolkien. But you kind of that gets a bit convoluted. That sometimes we get too deep into that discussion. So as I say, there are these moments of rest, but the spearmen are coming forward now. The spearmen aren't going to last too long against our boys, but we'll see what we can do. The engagement is still occurring over here, and as I say, we're over on the other end. We're biting at each other. Like, I'm not saying we're nibbling. We are properly taking bites and chunks out of each other. But here, this is a full-on battle that is happening on this end of the battlefield. So it's and Dorwinion is almost gone. It's of course it's all looking like this. It's all red, so you can't really tell. But it's still nice to see the formations, I suppose. So we'll zoom in for a minute. Swordmasters coming forward. Variag bowmen being sent on in. Looks like they still had their bows out though. So that'd be a shame if hopefully they've been able to use up their ammo. But we just saw the Candish general to get taken out, and Can's morale is not great. They are an evil men at the end of the day, and they're not Rudour. So they're they've got some more professional units like the Nurad footmen, of course, but a lot of their men, these nomadic light infantry, are not going to want to stick around long after their general's been dropped. It's quite cool to see even such a small unit of these elven swordmasters is able to hold back this swarm of evil men. I'm glad we've not, like the whole thing about Reforged is of course to try and keep it balanced, but I'm glad you do still get those moments of an exceptional elven elite holding back swarms of far less trained and equipped men. The Brothers of the Wain are being used quite effectively here, just tearing up these archers, stopping them from firing, knocking them down. They might already be out of ammo, but yeah, I just don't really use I don't use chariots. You know, they're not really my playstyle, and so it's quite nice to see them sort of getting used well. But I can't really comment on if they're being used well or not. So we've got over on this edge of the battlefield, Orc Javelins kind of positioning themselves up here for safety. They are spears in melee at the end of the day. Minas Morgul Chosen though, great spear unit, catching some of these men. Melkor's Chosen as well, still pretty healthy. But so many fallen horses and a lot more fallen orcs. As we're catching some of these Eastmark Riders, dealing with them. What's happening here? Anduin Lancers still in the field, and as you can see, my wargs are dead. My wargs have just been dealt with. They've killed a lot for their cost, but they're gone. And my trolls now, as careful as I'm trying to be with my trolls, they are starting to take damage. They are going to be starting to drop. You know, they're even if they're not receiving charges, they're taking damage from these men just being in melee. And now the air raid have come forward. You've got to keep in mind, everything we've been facing so far has been the low or mid tier of Rohan. Now the air raid and the First Marshal's bodyguard and the knights are coming up. And we're already in utter chaos, as you can see from my Uruk-hai raiders shattered there. So and now they're going to be cut to pieces as well. I'm not going to be getting any of those boys back. Let's just try to get an idea. So you can see we've tried to sort of form this semblance of a front line here, but because of all these bumps caused by my men, you know, we're just exposing ourselves to charges. Uruk-hai Reavers coming forward now, so I'm just trying to slice them apart. They don't really have any horse archers that still have ammo. Yeah, all of their horse archers, all of their archers are done. We're getting an admit defeat from the over on the other edge of the battlefield, so let's check that out. That'll probably be Dorwinian, I suspect. I'm pretty sure Khan's stuck around for a little bit longer. A lot of calls still got arrows left. That's a very frightening thing. Oh, poor, yeah, we've got the Anduin boys mixed in with these Nurad halberds. They've fallen side by side. Oh no, it's Khan that admitted defeat. That's quite surprising. There was still a few of these boys. Maybe they were all routing anyway, but Elvelyn marksmen out of ammunition, just kind of taking damage now. You know, if they're out of ammunition, they could maybe be sent up to the front, but at the same time, once the front line breaks, if your enemy still has cavalry remaining, they're just going to mash themselves on through. That's quite a shame, because he still had quite a lot of these men left. These Brotherhood of the Shadow definitely wouldn't be routing at 75. So Cerberus could have done more damage with this. I think that they were definitely, I think their death was certain here. I think their death was certain sort of from the moment that you know, they ended their deployment phase. But I think if you're ever in doubt, oh, you're seeing this over here. Let's actually catch that. That is a routing unit. I don't want to stress anybody out. It's one of the Wind Riders of Khan is coming on this way, but we were pretty scared about him coming forward because I just saw that on the mini map and I was like, oh no, what's this? So I'm not sort of moving away from him. I think, are one of my boys going to catch him? No, we're letting him on pass. That's fair. That's fine. Let him go. So as bloody as this all is for us, we are slowly taking, we're, you know, very, very slowly kind of piecing it together. And as I've really been the meat shield here for the most part. Mordor took a lot of beatings at the start, but from then on he's kind of been quite careful. Jar Jar's been able to keep a lot of his guys safe. His Minas Morgul Chosen have kept a lot of these guys in the forest safe and on the hilltop. And we began to communicate at this point, which is always an important thing for a free-for-all. You need to be vigilant. You need to be watching what's going on the other sides of the battlefield. And we'd, of course, all just seen what happened over here. and we saw Khand admit defeat. So we knew that if we went toe-to-toe with Rohan for a little while longer, we've got no chance. We just can't win. Well, we can maybe beat Rohan, but then after that, we're done. So we started to communicate, and Vince was not happy about an alliance. Lilles was a little bit more willing to communicate, or well, actually, I might be getting them confused. We'll see as it develops who was willing and who wasn't. But you see, Lilles is lurching forward again for another charge, whereas Vince is falling back. So as you know, we were communicating, we were trying to work out a deal, because we knew if we fought alone, we were dead. Now, something we've got kind of going for us here is Mordor has a lot of units hidden here. We have got a bit more left than what our enemies believed we did. So we were feeling a little bit more confident than we were letting on to our soon-to-be Rohan allies. But we still didn't feel good, because zooming over here to Lothlorien and Dale, it's a great map. I really like this map. So this is Vale of Anduin, I think. You know, we've still got a lot of these Dalian spears. They're tired. A lot of the Dalian infantrymen are tired, but they're doing all right. And then Lothlorien's infantry is doing quite well for itself as well, whereas our infantry is just about shattered. My my Snaga Stalkers, despite my best efforts, my Snaga Stalkers actually still had most of their ammunition left. So that was something that was giving me a lot of confidence. And in addition to that, I think that they've got most of their cav is destroyed, apart from these Earls of Dale. I'm not really seeing. Oh no, there definitely are still some Lorenan mounted company, and the March Wardens. So right now, Lothlorien and Dale are just gathering themselves up, and they're happy enough to just let you know, the Orcs and Rohan kill each other, as they should be. They've won their fight. You know, why shouldn't they sort of enjoy this now? The Nazhai, actually, I let them get far too deep as I was sort of fighting the enemy back. What is this battle? My Uruk-hai Reavers smashing off against some spearmen. It looks like the deal has been made. Yep, the deal has been made. So we are totally falling back away now, and they're coming on away. And now I'm sure that one of them is not fond of this idea. So we're just going to jump it up to 2 speed, because as I say, it's very this is what you generally get with free-for-alls. There's a lot of diplomacy, a lot of just chatting away about what. I wonder who that's referring to. Who's just lost half their men? Oh well. So as you can see here, we're just falling back and trying to let. I think it's Vince that's coming forward now. Yep, Vince is just not too happy about the idea of an alliance, and he's going to keep going for it. So we are just going to be moving forward to try and deal with Vince as best we can. And but it looks like Lilles is starting to think that it's maybe for the best. Maybe not. Yeah, no. See, he's coming back. So it's a very delicate process. Very, very delicate process, these sorts of free-for-all alliances. You have to be quite careful with it. And here is a big issue for us, though. Our main talking point here, our main sort of thing that is going to be hopefully getting us this alliance, is the fact that, like, oh, look how few orcs we have left. And the fact that Jar Jar Binks still has so much hidden in this forest is hopefully going to be what wins us the battle. So that is about to be broken, however, by these routing Brotherhood of the Shadows. And now this is really where I should have grabbed my Nazhai, grabbed everything I could, and just formed a line in front of them, because these Brotherhood of the Shadow have just revealed all of this, and that reveals it to everyone, of course. Once a unit is revealed, all the players on the field can see it. So obviously they've just spotted, they've got a hell of a lot hiding in the woodland still. Now I think they weren't stupid, and they knew that we had something hidden away. I don't think they quite knew just how much we had hidden away, but they knew we had something hidden away. So this wasn't a deal breaker, which it very well could have been. So the idea was set that we were going to just fall back, because the Dale and Lothlorien alliance was going to be moving on around here, and coming. Oops, sorry, missing my keys. Coming down here and fighting us in this area, which we were fine with, you know. We were glad to sort of use the whole battlefield. We had just had a sort of relatively open field battle, so another battle over here and another battle over there would definitely favour the archer forces of Lothlorien and Dale, and they maybe have used a lot of their ammunition, but they had a fair bit left. So we're just letting Lilles and Vince pass, and I think Jar Jar is gathering what has been revealed and sending it forward, and he's of course leaving behind some of the units that are remaining hidden, and I'll be following in behind him in time. Now, of course, they've just run past our stake position there. Some of these horses, of course, this wasn't a canned accident. These men were just routing from the field, and they've jumped down onto those stakes. Yeah, it's too bad that doesn't count as kills for Mordor, because that would look quite nice. Oh, right, Dorwinian men sort of routing that way just ran into my Uruk-hai Reavers, so that's pretty cool. So yep, Rohan is still moving on by, and generally we weren't being too tactical. It's enough. It's a difficult enough process just to make an alliance with an enemy on a free for all, let alone try and actually plan out how you intend to fight a battle. So it was a pretty vague general thing of like, they'll go around the right, we'll go on the left, and we'll strike them at the same time. That was really the best that we could generally work out. Got to be very careful on these stakes, of course. And we've got about 15,000 frames left, so I'm just going to be staying in 2x speed. And I think that this is when Vince decided, actually, stuff it. We're going to go and kill them. And that could have been absolutely horrendous for Mordor and for myself. But thank goodness for Jar Jar's stakes again. And a lot of Vince's men, a lot of Vince's horses were sort of just run through with that. And what has made it through at the other end is, of course, damaged its morale from the sudden terrible losses, and also is just in very, very few numbers. Unfortunately for us, these Sons of the Aeol made it through quite nicely, but with Uruk-hai and my few remaining Trolls of the White Hand, we have enough to generally deal with this. It's also the case that this attack was not agreed upon by Lilles, and as soon as it happened, Lilles was no part of it. And again, we needed him, so we weren't going to be punishing him for the treachery of his ally. And we continued to sort of move up, and I think that it's generally movement for a little while. So we were very grateful for those stakes. I think that we would have been able to, of course, deal with that cavalry push, but it would have wiped out Jar Jar's Mordor forces that were moving up. All that Jar Jar really would have had left would have been the men in those trees. Also, it's very likely that those trolls could have pulled off those knights could have pulled off a very nasty charge against our trolls, and really just made the rest of this battle much more difficult. A lot of these cavalry just grabbing routing forces of Khand and Dorwinian. And yeah, I move my hand away from my keyboard, and I keep losing track of my WASD for some reason. So yep, what it looks like generally, the situation is a much smaller force now, so they can really fit into these very tight valleys, which they're making an attempt to do here. We're hoping that and as well as that, we really didn't want them to secure this stake line. Now the good thing is, this is of course the stake line that can set up right from the get-go. So if they do secure that stake line, Lilles is going to come around the area that they don't have stakes, of course. But still, we kind of wanted to secure that and just deny them from being able to line up alongside it. Luckily though, the advance of the Melkor's Chosen seems to put that to bed, and they kind of just want to form up a bit earlier. We can generally have a quick glance over their army and see what they still have sort of ammunition wise. No, those are just spears of the wood. The Kindred are out of ammunition. Still very frightening in a fight though. That's where the general is. Some Lornand archers here still have some arrows, as do they. So both units have arrows. The Blackshots actually used up everything of theirs. The Bardian marksmen seem to have some, as do the March Wardens of the Wood. Our units are very badly damaged and quite low on numbers. So, well, sorry, and you know, very upset for morale too, I mean. So the poison arrows from March Wardens are going to be quite unpleasant. Same with those behind them. Galadron Blade Masters, we don't really have the skill to deal with that, or Lornand Warriors even. You know, an elf with an axe can still parry off a few blows. And then the Riders of the Golden Wood, who are out of ammunition, but they are an exceptional cavalry unit, so they can still do some charging. Even though they're just melee cav. The Anduin Lancers have actually come forward all the way across here. There is another way that you can cross the river at that bridge, but you've got to reach this point and come around. And that's of course not really where we want to take our full armies. So what we've got generally up here is myself, and as I say, the few units that Mordor has had revealed. Little S at this point is moving around, and he is intending to actually come around and cross at this crossing point. This is when Jar Jar gets a little bit nervous. Now, I was trying to calm him. I trusted Little S at this point. I trusted him an awful lot. He had shown that he was not gonna try and stab us in the back when his ally did. So we were, but Jar Jar was nervous, and he definitely didn't want to walk past this, which I understand. You know, you walk past that, that's an immediate just removal of your army. So they're, yeah, what's going on here, generally? Yeah. And yeah, so the Melkor's Chosen decided to sort of launch themselves into these Ered of Aldburg and try to stomp a few of them down. Which, of course, then Little S has to respond to. And yeah, it was just a very, this could have been curtains here. This sort of misunderstanding, miscommunication really could have ended it. But in the end, we managed to... Oh, do we? I think the Melkor's Chosen actually get destroyed. And Mordor loses his general. The evil forces, especially orcs, really do rely on their generals. And the Melkor's Chosen, as powerful as they are, were absolutely wiped out. Now, of course, their hit points would have been destroyed in earlier engagements, but quite impressive how quickly they did fall. And then Little S just sort of forms up in front of Jar Jar, sort of staring him down as, yes, you know, we are going to be crossing this river. you can fight us if you like, type of thing. And luckily, tensions calm. I ran my men over here because I thought that it was all about to go south. And if it was going to go south, we could maybe still win, but we really needed Rohan's units if we were going to be securing this win for certain. So Jar Jar still concerned, forms his Melkor's Chosen right up along that crossing, to just to ensure that the horses all make it across and do not start coming on back. Now, when he does that, it would maybe be an idea to just take one of these. No, it would need to be a full unit of Melkor's Chosen, just lining them up along here just to stop them coming on back. The Orc Javelin's getting a little bit too close. And I think they might actually end up killing... Oh, no, good. Jar Jar caught it. Oh, no. Ah, damn, that's a shame. Yep, I think that's just a bit of a misstep on Jar Jar's part. But hopefully he doesn't kill anybody. Yeah, no, he doesn't kill anybody. And I think Jar Jar's just very keen to get this position secured up, so that even if Little S has a change of heart, if he wants to come around, he's got to come all the way around the other way, or cross the bridge. So I get my men up forward. Now they've still got arrows left, so I do. I'm going to basically try and... Oh yeah, and of course Little S came forward here with some spears too. That was good for him. But all I'm really wanting to do at this point, that was his only infantry unit left, so I guess he just wanted to get rid of it. I'm just wanting to get my javelins forward, try and use up what's left of the enemy's ammunition, and before I really show some of my units. Because I've got some Uruk-hai Raiders. That's a near enough full unit of Uruk-hai Raiders. They can do some killing. The Naz-hai are really what I'm going to be relying on. And I've also got my 4 Trolls of the White Hand. In addition to that, I have my Uruk-hai Berserkers. They're just about untouched. And I really don't want the Uruk-hai Berserkers to be taking arrow fire either. So if I can just mess about with my Snaga Skirmishers, make them waste a bit of ammunition, or hopefully, these are armored up spearmen too, actually. So if I can get some kills on them, that'll be worth it. Because as I said before, despite my best efforts, my snag of skirmishers just weren't able to use their ammunition too well. I'm seeing them, they're doing the animation. Yeah, they are throwing their javelins. Just doesn't, I'm not seeing javelins flying. So he comes forward with some cav, and at this point I'm very, very prepared for cav. I start just running on back and try and catch them. I'm willing to sort of glomp this force if it means, I was hoping to break them, but I think they're going to get away. Oh, one of them might not. No, they did. So as deadly as that situation was for those cav, they managed to escape, and now we sort of spread them. The best tool I've really got here are these trolls. So if he splits up, I can only really respond to one of his units with the trolls. Now, I was just wanting this to be a skirmish battle in the beginning, but it ends up turning into a bit more than that. As Dale once again comes forward with his infantry, and I'm going to go back to 1 speed now. As we can see, the Rohirrim Cav are coming around this way. Now, what have they got to deal with generally? They've got some exposed March Wardens, some Lorenan Swordmasters, some Spears of the Wood should be running right now, but they're just walking back. But no, so this engagement is generally going to be going in favour of Dale and Lothlorien. Got my Berserkers coming forward against the Kindred. Berserkers are elite units, but they're more useful up against, say, human or dwarven elites that really rely on armour, whereas the Kindred, with their 2 swords, are very skilled. Now, they are winning there, but I think that's partly due to their numbers as well. Now, the Riders of the Golden Wood have pierced through, so I'm trying to get a volley on them. I've got my Lurch Hunting Pack as well. They've still got quite a lot of ammo, so I want to get that used up. Uruk-hai Reavers coming into the back. Hopefully if I can just hold them there and knock a few of them down. But no, he pushes right on through. That's me only having my force remains. I'm surprised at that. I've been seeing that. I've been feeling that the sounds have been a bit buggy recently with those calls. Like I've often had just calls of like, hey, yeah, your general's dead. I'm like, no, he's not. Saying that, my general just died. That's a weird timing. Got my snag of skirmishers coming forward, and as I say, anything here is a worthwhile target. If I can just deal with the Barding Herd, because Mordor is coming forward now in his full strength, as Rohan is just throwing himself into the enemy. These spearmen, Spears of the Wood, sorry. If he can pull off some good charges, some good cycle charges against them, but it looks like they were trying to charge past. It looks like they were trying to charge at the March Wardens, and they just ran into them, so they didn't actually charge there. Still scared the spearmen, still mucked them up a bit, but no, you can cycle charge lower quality units of spears. A lot of people do see spearmen and they think, oh yeah, no, that's worthless. That's impossible to charge. And a lot of people think, oh yeah, my spearmen are impossible to charge, so I don't have to worry about them. But then a good quality cav unit just wipes them out. So it's something you've got to be careful about. Uruk-hai Berserkers, they were having quite a good time against those Kindred, but now with some extra numbers thrown in, they're not going to be doing too well. Now, they are locked morale, so I'm happy enough to just have them fighting it out as best they can, while the snag of skirmishers just rattle shots in. Riders of the Golden Wood have pierced on through, so I've kind of got my Uruk-hai Reavers just holding them back. It's such a shame, but I really want to just keep them in place so I can shoot at them, and I can keep these javelins getting thrown off. Uruk-hai are here. And we get some good over-the-top shots against my snag of skirmishers. As I've said before, Lothlorien archers most certainly can do that. Now, I was kind of just happy with them firing, and I guess right now they're firing into the Kindred, but I really should have moved this unit here so that I'm firing into this blob. Let's zoom in a bit, get an idea of what's going on here. Because this cav push, it kind of got a bit spread out, and a few of these spearmen are like still holding them back. So no, yeah, just a few of these specialised units in a very tight area, and but it's mainly just the very strung out unit of cav that's causing damage here to Rohan, and this cavalry push is not quite as effective as it could be. A big part of it though has come right on through here and is coming right where it is needed, into the back of these lines. With my handful of men sort of trying to hold them off. Quick charge to the rear, the Uruk-hai sort of bashing and smashing away. Hopefully that this Uruk-hai may have smashed away at some of these air red at an earlier stage in the battle, but hey, they're friends now. But that is just about all of Rohan dealt with. Now, as soon as we saw Rohan really sort of engaging, Jar Jar can bring forward everything he's got in reserve, which is a lot of these Orc Javelins, Sauron's Will and such, the Black Guard. So it'll be pretty worthwhile for us now. The Riders of the Golden Wood still just pecking through my Uruk-hai Reavers. I'm really not getting any kills in response to that, but it's just what's got to be done. I do catch on, and I move them to a sort of better point, which is here. Getting some back shots up against those Bardying Herd, and also just anything. Anything here is a worthwhile target. Just trying to... they're wavering, though, and this is really when I should have probably pulled them out, because if they break, they've still got a lot of ammunition, and I want to use it. These men still had quite a lot of ammo, too, because they've just been firing in a strange manner today. I don't know why. But the Naz High, I sent them on in here now too. Oh, that was a weird sort of double twist with his blades. But no. The Naz High handling themselves okay but against the Kindred. No, watches the Golden Wood as well. Oh, out of ammunition now? No, they're not. Swordmasters coming in. And if they collide, if anything collides with one of my Snag skirmishers, this is just silly of me. You know, I've got a front line here. I should just bring them back. Just bring them back here to make sure they use up their ammo. But I think I was just so excited about how good my shots were up against units like these paladins that I was like, yeah, no, just keep them. Just keep them there. You know, this is for the best. And then, of course, they break. And I had in my mind, for some reason, if they break, they'll just fall behind Mordor's lines. Of course, that's the way everybody's been routing. But no, they broke. And they decided, no, I'm not going to fall behind friendly lines. I'm gonna lurch myself right into these Rangers, which, to be honest, they're doing a service. They're stopping the Rangers from firing, but still, that's a whole unit sort of wiped out there. And they still had, for as much as they've been firing, they still had about half their ammo. So I was quite upset with that. Perhaps half is a bit of an overstatement. Very dramatic way to block a snag a skirmisher there. Yeah, gosh, these Swordmasters will just be cutting through these poor guys like butter. I suspect just about every swing is going to be a kill. I think I kicked him a few times before he went down. Okay, and now we have the real clash. Now these Dalian men have been fighting for quite a while, and the Mordor forces are totally fresh. So that will definitely come into effect. Mordor infantrymen, they're broken. That's insane. Snag skirmishers did come back, but they've been grabbed by these 3 Earls of Dale. And so I was like, why isn't he coming in with the Sauron's Will? And this is unfortunately the point where Jar Jar, the host of the battle, desynced. Now this was a very unusual situation because both myself and Nawaki and also Monkeytron, we were all still present in this. You know, we discussed it a lot. We were referring to what's going on, and we were all, yeah, everything was, oh, no, I don't think he's desynced just yet. No, I think he's still got some time. So no, this is pretty good. Because we're doing alright at this minute. The Rangers still have some ammo, but we're grabbing them. They're getting backstabbed by some Lornan archers, though, but the main line is going in our favour. And there's still a lot of Mordor archers with ammunition. There's still some Chosen back here. And hopefully these Orc Javelins come back. So they've still got ammo. That's quite surprising. I thought that was a solid object. I didn't think that they could walk through that. I think on some maps it is, because it's not so much the object that is solid, it's like fences that we'll put through the bottom that's solid. To just stop you running through it. Mordor infantry luckily did come back, 69 men. And the Minas Morgul Chosen, they'll do not bad in a fight for sure. I don't really use sort of Minas Morgul Chosen ever, but no, it's cool to see them. That's Dale's general going down there. Dale's morale at this point will definitely be hurt by that, because of the situation that a lot of these men find themselves in. These Bardying herds shaken, they were wavering, but they're now shaken, so they've kind of come under control. Lighter armoured Spears of the Wood there, receiving some more on archer fire, as the Watchers of the Wood sort of try to stab away at this Olokai. Hopefully he's able to rack up a kill or two more, because every one of these Watchers is important. Those Watchers still have ammo as well, so that's why that Olokai was charged deep into the lines. That's Lothlorien's general taken out there. I, of course, for narrative sense, I would have loved it if it was one of my men, but no, it was a Sauron's Will, I believe, that did it. Oh dear. Blackguard Barad-dûr broke in there. Lost a lot of men from that. And the Rangers are just still tearing through us. Mordor archers moving up. They're out of ammunition now, but that's a lot of men for the front. And these javelins can still get some stuff thrown. But all along the line now, it's very much... It's sort of more going in the favour... I don't know, really. I was going to say it's going in the favour of the elves, but it's not really. It's just the numbers of the orcs are still coming into effect. Minas Morgul chosen, fighting together here. We're seeing a handful more of these Blackshot Dragon Slayers battling it out. They're going to hold to the end. Do what they can, but being that outnumbered and being sort of stun-locked. Divide and Conquer, some of the units. Third Age Divide and Conquer, some of the units have an ability that stops them from being staggered. It's impossible to stagger them. And that does make these units like Berserkers and such far more scary. But no, I think Berserkers and Reforged are sort of good enough. I don't think we need to worry about that. But it's interesting to see those sorts of things come into effect and how important they can be on the battlefield. Blade Masters here, as I say, everything's just outnumbered at this point. So as good as these elves are, it is mostly elves remaining here. There's very few Dalian soldiers on the field. The top there is broken. Receiving some shots to the side. These Saurons, well, just sort of getting shot to pieces. They really could be running right now. What else do we have? Minas Morgul chosen, sort of trying to block down these. It'd be quite good for one of those Minas. Oh, that's just one big unit. You would want to sort of lock that down, but you'd also want to sort of grab the Rangers. Saurons will have come back up here. And yeah, now is the time, unfortunately, that that Jar Jar Binks sort of starts to desync. We weren't told. We weren't. It wasn't brought to our attention. It was only really. I was referring. I started messaging Jar Jar like, hey, these Saurons well are just they're just taking shots. Jar Jar, do you want to go and shut down those Watchers or grab some of these Dalian bowmen? Or there are some Dalians left, but. Because right now they're just being shot, some of them are being shot in the back, as you can see. And he says, oh, where? And I pinged him, and he was like, there's no Saurons well there. So that was when we kind of, oh, sorry, but, oh gosh, that's embarrassing. So that's when we realized that, that's when we realized that, yes, he had desynced. But we still thought, I still had my fingers crossed, even though he's desynced, his men are in a great condition. These Watchers of the Golden Wood can't have endless amounts of ammunition. Even if this entire unit of Sauron's will is brought down, it's still going to be okay. He's got to charge him in melee. And so we'll jump up to 2 speed, because of course Mordor's their army still does kind of react to some things. I don't really know how desyncing sort of generally works, but it's but yeah, so it's you will see some of the units sort of move around, but generally everything's stopped as the Rangers tear right through these Orc javelins, of course out of their javelins at this point, and the charging, the cycle charging of the Riders of the Golden Wood coming into effect there as well, just sort of breaking down some of these, breaking through and breaking down some of these units. Now, of course, I do at the end of this battle, I do have the statistics that we had. I of course, since we knew that it desynced, I took some screenshots at the end just to make sure that when I did do a battle on it, did do a video on it, it was okay. I was really into this one. I really enjoyed it. It was Jar Jar was a cool partner to fight alongside. It was nice to do 2 orcs together as well, and it was cool to sort of challenge myself to make an army without pikes or spears, because I do definitely rely on my spears to just grab cav and just float around and just scare off enemy cav. So I really wanted to go for like the other means of stopping them. Now, usually, as I say, wargs, especially 2 units of wargs, will be enough to stop enemy cav, no matter, But when it came up to fighting Rohan, it was just too much, far too much. Even I think if I had, say, chosen champions of the White Hand, even if I slammed them on top, you know, it would have been a very terrible struggle, you know. But then it would have just maybe be, you know, like 2 units of pikes. If we just had pikes or halberds just lining up, then of course that strategy wouldn't have worked. But it was cool. It was just try, because some of those charges got so deep, and because we had all of our units spread out and just coming slamming in and just dealing with like 40 casualties at a time for these like really mid and low tier Rohirrim charges, and we felt so good after we were like, that's the last Riddermark Cav dealt with, and then it was like the air raid of Oldburg just stepped forward. It's like, oh, no, this is not meant to be. So we had a lot of difficulty there, but it was fun, and as you can see, it's unfortunately just with the charging and with sort of just being able to flank around a bit, the elves are quite easily able to mince through what's left of the orcs. These Minas Morgul chosen have their back turned, which is too bad. But as I say, I felt quite bad because on Jar Jar's screen, you know, Jar Jar said, "Hey, I've already won. What are you guys talking about?" You know, since he was the host as well, it was good that he hung around for quite a while. But I think, yeah, we do end up getting the unresolved because he did have to close it. But it was good. It was fun. I'd like to know. I'd like to sort of see Jar Jar's, you know, kills at the end of it maybe, and see sort of how his battle ended. But it was cool. I think had Cand lost all of his boys, it would have ended very different. Like, I think, because say if Cand had stuck around, I think we would have had a lot more difficulty convincing Rohan not to fight us. And because that was our best chance. Because no matter what, even if Cand had stuck around, I don't think that they would have been able to do it as much damage to Dale and Lothlorien as Rohan was going to do to us. Rohan was going to do a lot more damage to us. So it's no, it was definitely going to be better to do it that way, and for him to fall back so that we could sort of have a bit more leverage to convince them. So let's have a quick look here, and this was my ending battle screen, of course, and we'll come back to that one really, because I like to go straight for my kills. The Nazhai there, racking up some nice kills. I threw them in a lot of that was Eastmark spears, but then they also went toe to toe with some of the elven elites toward the end too, and performed pretty admirably. The Uruk-hai berserkers there were only ever used up against the cream of the crop elves, and they handled themselves quite nicely. When they were fighting up against the Kindred, I genuinely expected the Kindred to mop the floor with them, just because they're not a counter to the Kindred, and but they handled themselves quite nicely, and I think it was just because they had such an overwhelming numbers advantage over the Kindred. The Trolls of the White Hand, toward the middle of that fight, the Trolls of the White Hand were my only anti-cavalry force, and I think I was quite good at looking after them. And sort of as soon as they were done fighting, they fled back behind my infantry line. The Uruk-hai took the slam, and then the Trolls ran forward. You know, that was, and I think I did all right with that. My Uruk-hai raiders, most, as you can see, most of my Uruk-hai raiders were just absolute charge bait. You know, they were doing the job of orc fodder, and I feel terrible for that. So it's impressive that they got some kills. That's all I can really say. And even though one of them, there was a full unit that did end up colliding with Dale's forces, that's probably the one that ended up racking up 47 kills. But yeah, there was a Reaver unit there that I think I used quite well up against enemy Cav. I think that he really shone on that. Whereas then my other unit of Reavers just got slammed repeatedly by the Watchers? No, by the Riders of the Golden Wood, yeah. My snag of skirmishers there, as I say, they just weren't able to use up all their ammo. And that was me being dumb. In the beginning, I think it was just I had them slightly too close to the front line, so they weren't willing to use it. But then toward the end, it was just me being stupid and positioning them poorly and trusting their morale to hold. Like, I was treating it like a siege, basically, and it wasn't a siege. And then my Uruk-hai archers actually did really well. That's really impressive from a unit of Uruk-hai archers. How did the other ones do? Here, that's wow. I guess it was just the Uruk-hai archers were just constantly firing away into Rohirrim Cav and just racking up some nice kills. And then of course one of them was just getting absolutely eviscerated. So I'm sorry, archers. You were not just meat shields. You were saving our lives, and I regret everything I said. One of them even gained some experience. So did my Lurt's hunting pack. Very well done. Lurt's hunting pack as well. They were minced by the riders at the end. Look at the, oh, nice, captured. But that was all just the Candish men running into us, and some of the Dorwinian boys. Double wargs there. Yeah, the wargs are always gonna do quite nicely. I'm surprised that one got actually only 63. But I could have done with another 2 units of wargs. I really could have. What we had here generally, Jar Jar Binks, massive fan of working together with him. That was a lot of fun. We were a good team. Deployed almost the exact same amount of men. That's kind of funny. And no, I like that. I think it was good that he was hiding his men in those forests, and we handled ourselves quite well overall. Little less, hey, solid. Good ally to have in those later stages. Just sucks that his boys kind of got spread out there. I think he got a bit too focused on like getting through to the front line. You know, like that was his main aim, just getting through to the front line. Whereas had he taken it a bit slower and just like cycle charge that unit of spears and then get through, cycle charge the blade masters, then get through. I think it was all about just get through. And so many of his units, it was only the air raid that had the strength to get through that. And then they were just surrounded and scared. So I think that was maybe just a bit too much aggression from him toward the end there. But it was great to work with him. It was good bit of diplomacy. Vince there, racking up massive kills against us. Really took us to the cleaners for a fair bit of that. But it could have been beautiful, Vince, if you just believed, if you just worked with us, you know. Lil S and Vince with their remaining cav just slamming in together could have been an absolute wash, and then they come right into us, and we're hopefully going to be able to beat them. But yeah, Monkeytron definitely did the right thing there. He saw that Kanzo was by himself, and he just went straight for it. Nawaki, I don't know if how much communication. 1,067 captured, jeez. And you know, he got 983. Whoa. Yeah, sorry. They definitely did the right thing. And Nawaki, as I say, he saw what was going on and he went straight for it. So that was impressive. And just good on all fronts. As for Cerberus and Kanzo, I think it was just a deployment zone confusion. They were definitely, they kind of had a dicey deployment zone as is. They were on a very thin territory, and I think that they were just, I'd like to know if they were kind of communicating or not. Like, or if they were just like doing their own thing, and then as soon as it started they were like, oh no, because Cerberus was just all the way on the other end. Now it could have just been that he actually had a bit of trouble deploying his men further up. I'd understand that, but you know, as I say, I just think that they were of two minds, and they were kind of like, oh no, I'll probably attack these, and I'll probably attack these, and you just can't do that in a 2v2v2v2. You know, you're just gonna get smashed up. But apart from that, really fun little battle. One of my most sort of enjoyable free-for-alls that I've had in a long time, and I don't really like free-for-alls all that much, so this was great. And apart from that, yeah, GG team.